All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Sweat the Bed podcast brought to you by oddsjam.com. If you aren't familiar already, as a sports bettor, you have to check out oddsjam.com. We give you so many different tools to help you try to get an edge versus the sports books. There is a mixture of free tools that we have. There's some premium tools. So give it a whirl, guys. There's no harm in testing it out. There's some positive EV betting alerts. We have arbitrage betting alerts, how to middle some bets. We have easy bet trackers that'll kind of log your bets as you kind of go through and keep track during the season, which is a must if you're betting a lot, guys. Check out the Odds Jam Player Prop app on the iOS store. That one's absolutely free, and you can get some player prop data, especially with NFL right around the season, guys. So check it out. Check out our sponsors, oddsjam.com. I'm one of the hosts of the Sweat the Bed podcast, Andrew Kim, aka the ParlayDoc, and I have my co-host with me, Matt, aka Jedi Modi. What is up,
Yes,
Matt?
I love it. I was hoping you'd give me that intro. Let's just try and see how it works. We'll test drive it for a little bit, make sure it fits, everything goes smoothly. We can see how Jedi works. But no, I'm good, man. We're recording this on Wednesday night. We are one sleep away from the football season starting. So for those of you listening to this, hell, the season might have already started.
Exactly, guys. I love it. I love it. We've been talking about it all summer long. NFL is finally here, and we're going to have a bunch of fun this season from start to finish. So, guys, for those of you who have been supporting us from the very beginning, please, please, please continue to follow our YouTube channel here, our podcast, like us, subscribe, listen, because in addition to these once a week episodes that are kind of longer, we're going to be doing live streams, guys. So please keep your notifications on. Especially like Sunday mornings before the Monday primetime games, Monday night. We're going to be doing some live streams, kind of going over our last minute favorite bets, favorite props, crazy parlays. So join in on the fun. We're going to mix in some of those live stream best bets, more educational videos, in addition to our weekly episodes. So please give us a follow, guys. And we appreciate for those of you who've been following along.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have much more to add to that.
All right, guys. So today we are going to have a little bit of fun. We've done some kind of more, analytical breakdowns of, divisional predictions, some futures predictions. But today we're just going to do some fun hot takes. Matt and I are going to go back and forth. We're going to pick three apiece. We're going to give you our hot takes just about the NFL season in general. We left it wide open. We didn't share our thoughts before the episode. So this could be about player predictions, about how they're going to perform this season, about teams, about outcomes, whatever. So we're just going to go back and forth, give each of our three hot takes, and we're going to try to grade each other on how much we like and how spicy each of the hot takes are on a mild, medium, spicy, or atomic scale, guys. After that, we're going to go over some best bets to just kind of go over any bets that we like in these upcoming weeks or the weekend. So stick along for the ride. A bunch of hot takes today. We're going to kick it off with our traditional sweat, no sweat segment. So I'll kick it off, Matt. So look, NFL season is starting literally tomorrow. So we know there is a combination of all types of bettors out there. The casual bettor who's going to bet maybe opening weekend and then maybe on the Super Bowl Sunday. We got the serious kind of chronic bettors you're going to bet every single day. We got people who are religious with a system or an algorithm or positive EV, and we got parlay bettors who just fire off $300 $1 parlays, right? So we got the whole mixture. Now, everyone loves the sexy parlay. No matter if you're a strict algorithm systems guy, they're all going to lie. At the end of the day, they still get jealous and wish they hit that $5 to win 10 grand parlay. Okay?
Well said from the ParlayDoc.
There you go. Exactly. So here's my sweat or no sweat. We see them floating around all the time on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, these crazy big ticket lotto winners, right? And we know there's like 8,000 losing tickets for that one huge winner. But
of course,
let's focus on the positive. Let's talk about the sexy. All right. So during this NFL season, we will see someone hit a $500,000 payout parlay during the NFL season, but the base bet, the stake has to be $1,000 or less, and we will see a popular winning ticket for $1,000 or less to pay out for $500,000 to float around somewhere on social media this NFL season. So you're talking even with $1,000, that's what, plus like 50,000 odds. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think this will I put it this way, there's guys out there like some well-known big whale gambler, Marco or something. He bets like these $100,000 parlays, 50,000. So I'm not talking about that because yeah, that's doable if you have that kind of disposable income. But I'm saying $1,000 or less to hit for $500,000. Are we going to see one of those insane tickets this NFL season?
I am going no sweat, and I think it'll be someone on the host of the Sweat or No Sweat podcast that will hit one of those parlays. I'm speaking it into existence. No, I feel like I guess I don't pay attention to the stake as much, but I feel like you see that common enough. Like it's not like the most infrequent thing in the world where you see someone have that ridiculous 500K parlay. But like you said, it could be Marco Parlay who like puts 100K on parlays or 500K or whatever. So I don't pay as much attention to the stake, but no, I think it'll happen. There's like, you always see one of these ridiculous parlays, like this better hit this for $1 and like all that stuff. So I think it'll happen.
Okay. I'm excited. I always get excited looking at those and just dreaming like a pipe dream of like, that's going to be me one day. I think this past baseball season, the best I had, and again, this is total dumb luck, was I think it was $25. I can't remember. I sent you the ticket. It was like 20 bucks, $25 or something.
20, I think it was $25
for almost 10 grand, right around 10 grand. So that was like, that was probably the most massive odds ticket I've ever hit, but I'm talking, so we'll see. I'd love to see someone out there hit for like $500,000 without staking like 100 grand or like 50 grand.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Didn't you hit one during NFL season last year too? For a pretty good amount.
Yeah, I think it was like it was some like $25, $50 one for like 5, 6, 8 grand, something like that. It was like a touchdown, anytime touchdown parlay. Yeah.
So. Okay, I thought it was bigger than that. Gotcha.
I think two seasons ago I hit a same game parlay for like 14 grand for like $25 or something.
Oh man,
so that's
I don't do a ton. I don't probably do as many as you do. Parlays. I used to do like, I would call it like like one stake parlay a day where I'll just risk like 5 to win like 100, but that's not nearly as exciting, obviously.
But you're smarter than me. See, that's a difference.
I wouldn't say that. You're a doctor. I'm just a Jedi who's really is smarter.
So what do you got for me, man?
All right. Mine is kind of sports adjacent, very relevant for us specifically. But I think that of all the different social media platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, YouTube, the TikTok comments specifically are the most just like the deepest, darkest web of the internet. Like the worst degen comments is TikTok specifically.
I think your Freudian slip was correct. The dickest. Yeah, they are probably the dickiest.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it was a Freudian slip. And I actually have, let me give your answer first. You give your answer first.
I'm pretty relatively active on TikTok, more on Twitter. I don't do too much Instagram, but I will say just from what I've seen, yeah, I'll say yeah. I'd say overall, and it's probably a stereotype, but it's okay. It's social media. We can stereotype all we want. I'd say yeah, probably just because from what I've seen and what I understand, and even my own personal experience, it's like people make snap judgments on Twitter all the time on every platform, but with TikTok, people are making snap judgments in like 3 seconds, literally. So it's like, this sucks, this is cool, scroll up or stay. And then, I mean, people are just like making comments without, it's like a 30-second clip, but they'll watch 6 seconds and comment. And it's just it's like the crack, like Twitter used to be the crack of social media. And then there was all these other like Vine and all these things, but now like TikTok is the crack of social media. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have like obviously a massive following on either Twitter or TikTok, but TikTok is much more viral. So you'll have one that'll blow up where you don't see that as much on Twitter. And I would say that most of my interactions on Twitter are pretty nice. Like I would say there's like one comment like a month that is someone being a dickhole, but mostly they're people being nice. But TikTok is like, it's just a cesspool. So I posted 5 TikTok comments on some of mine that I thought were really funny that I want you to give me which one your favorite is. Because some of these are pretty good. So one TikTok that didn't blow up, but pretty viral for my small following. I posted a 3-pick money line parlay, pretty simple. I just said, hey, I love doing this every week. Post 2 to 4 teams, bet their money line. Some guy commented, wow, a money line parlay, real original. And I was like, and I wasn't trying to do the most profound thing in the world. It's just a typical money line parlay. This one I thought was funny. The guy I didn't realize this, but I ended up choosing 3 road teams to win in my money line parlay. So the guy commented, "Wow, 3 road teams. What could possibly go wrong?" And I commented, "Well, I could lose the bet. That's what possibly could go wrong." Another one, I posted 2 player prop picks, and some guy just commented wrong. I was like, "Well, which are they both wrong? Is it one of them? What's wrong here?" This one's probably my favorite. I posted this was a college football totals bet. Some guy commented and said, "This bet could easily lose." Yeah, it could. That's sports betting. And then the last one is I posted a pick for the Ravens Jets game, and the guy commented and said, "LOL, dude's an Eagles fan, line +4." And I commented and said, "Sir, this is about the Ravens and Jets game." I thought that was kind of funny. So those are my 5 favorite that I chose from the selection. Would say you?
I would say wrong. That's always it's literally when they're just like wrong, loser, you suck. Yeah. And I'm just like, cool, man. Then what are your thoughts? And of course, to me, it's so odd that someone as like an adult, right, is gonna like, and I use that term loosely because some people aren't mature, but like an adult will sit there and you will actually invest energy to be like, you suck. Yeah. And I'm like, if you don't like it, just scroll past it. Or if you don't, why are you even watching? If you don't like this thing,
just scroll.
Like, just scroll up. Literally, that's what TikTok is for. You can scroll in 1.5 seconds. Like you just go like that 1 second. It's so weird to me. And I almost equate it to like, again, like it's like the dark part of like the crack part of like Yelp or something, where you get some random good comments, but it'll be like it's like just a mass of like, I went there and they didn't cater to my every whim, and like they didn't treat me like they were my butler. This restaurant sucks, bro. And I'm like, did you even eat there? And it's just this is what people do. Everyone thinks with a keyboard now, you're an expert, or you're the you're the final opinion on everything. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah, like social media in general is like pretty much a cesspool. Sports social media is a cesspool, and then like sports betting specifically, I would say is like the worst of the worst. And to be clear, like I don't care. I think like I love it. I think it's hilarious when people comment stuff on that. So like it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I legitimately enjoy it because then I could just troll back, and they're almost like shocked that they actually get a response.
Yeah.
So I love it. I hope people continue comment and trolling, because then I just troll right back. But like this bet could easily lose. I thought was so funny. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a -110 bet. It's 50-50. It could easily lose. You're right. That's very helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
I know. At this point in my life, I'm just like, any traffic is good traffic, and it just helps the algorithm. So
I mean, that part is also true. I just find it. I mean, I'm like a troll at heart, so I just find it like I just love trolling them back, because I feel like they think they're so clever. Yeah. When they comment, then you respond with the troll back, and they're like, "Well, now hold on, this isn't what I signed up for."
Yeah, no, it's I pick and choose, like even on Twitter, like I don't at this point I barely ever like tweet back or like retweet, because I don't even want to give attention to some troll or something. But it's funny when I'm in that mood and annoyed enough, like I'll retweet it and stuff, and then they'll suddenly get all this flack from my followers, and they're like, "Oops, I shouldn't have like been such a dick." But it is what it is. So
yeah, I mean, it's the nature of like producing content is you're going to get people that are just like, this guy's a dumbass, like, or like you lose one bet and I was like, I'm never tailing this guy again. Yeah, those are I see that more on YouTube, but those are funny as well.
Yeah. I mean, Alex gets a ton of that, it seems like, on his
he's a lot more aggressive with his with his marketing of it, which is probably has something to do with it. I try to be a little more genuine with mine,
So, all right, guys. So let's jump into some of our hot takes for today. So again, we're doing hot takes on the NFL season. We're just having fun with this, guy. So we're not going to go too deep into analytics and stuff, but just giving our hot takes, getting the other person's reaction. So I'll kick it off. My first hot take is going to be about a specific player. And I'm just going to come out with a hot take, bold statement. And I'm going to say Travis Etienne is basically going to win comeback player of the year. And I know this wasn't this isn't supposed to be about bets, but I tied this one to a bet and say, I think there's literally a good shot at this. I'm not saying 100%, but I'm so confident in this statement. Like, I actually think it's good value to take him for plus 3,000 as comeback player of the year on FanDuel. And then here's why. We know he's athletic, he's oozing with talent. He didn't get to play. I think, look, a lot of it's going to be predicated on how much did the Jags suck. But, if they could even put a semblance of like a half decent season and be like that surprise, oh, look, the new coach with Peterson and T-Law, like, they're actually better than we thought. And with that narrative, and I think he's going to be a focal point. I think with a better coach, better scheme, they're not going to be stupid, and they're actually going to utilize talent in an appropriate way. That, hey, if he gets enough touches, he gets enough touchdowns, I think there's a legit argument that maybe, at least he's in the talks. But I'm going to go bold and say he's just going to win comeback player of the year, and I am going to take him at plus 3,000.
There you go
on FanDuel. That's my hot take on Travis.
I'm trying to think of I feel like every year there's like an obvious player who came back from injury. That, like Burrow last year, I'm pretty sure he won comeback player of the year. The year before, or maybe it was 2 years ago, like Alex Smith. Like there's always some. I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah, let me hear here. While you're thinking, I'll read them off to you. Let me go log in right now.
Yeah,
and I'll list you some of the other ones just so you can kind of compare like how far off I'm gonna be with this. So NFL futures.
Yeah, while you're doing that, my only rebuttal to in order to have come back, you would have needed to have been there.
Yeah, but he's listed there.
Yeah, so no, I get that. I wonder how many people aren't going to vote for him because they're just going to think like he's a rookie. Like,
no, that's true.
NBA standards, he would have been considered a rookie this year because he didn't play. In terms of mild, medium, hot, atomic, I would go with hot. It's not atomic. It's definitely not mild. I would worry. Like Doug Peterson isn't one to just kind of have a bell cow back. Like I intimately know Doug Peterson from his Eagles days, and he likes to have a committee. Granted, his 5 or 4 years in Philly, they never really had that type of running back who could have been a bell cow. So that could have been part of it. But with James Robinson coming back and seemingly healthy from an Achilles, I would worry that Etienne might not get enough just targets and volume and just opportunities to win comeback player of the year. So I'll give that. I mean, I like it. It's definitely what we had in mind, choosing a hot take, but I'll go with it. And boring, I think we need another word for hot, because it's like, how do you grade this hot take? Hot. Oh, nice. Okay, that's really helpful. But in terms of the wings scale of mild, medium, hot, atomic, I'll give it a hot.
All right, I'm going to list off the players that are ahead of him in odds. So Derrick Henry is at plus 500, and then we're just going to go sequentially up. I'm not going to read off the odds. Derrick Henry, Jameis Winston, Brian Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson, Baker Mayfield, Mitch Trubisky, Saquon, Juju, JK, Daniel Jones. Those are the ones ahead of him that they've listed. Okay. And again, it's such a weird hodgepodge list. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Derrick Henry was like MIA for like the majority of this. You know what I mean? It's just such a weird. Yeah. It's just a weird compilation of people that are going to be even considered with these like Vegas odds. It's so strange to me.
They need to like more loosely define, or more not loosely, the opposite of loosely. Yeah, strictly defined. Of those names, I kind of like Baker. I feel like the two I like are Baker and Jameis. Like the Panthers have a good year. It's like the narrative of Baker. Oh, the Browns like did him dirty. He Matt Rule was on his last legs, and look what Baker did. That's easy to write. Well, the Saints will actually get into my hot take. I'm not high on the Saints, but if they do have a good year, I mean, Winston came back from a torn ACL. I could easily see that one as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, like everyone loves the QB narratives, right? And for the NFL's marketing purposes, they would love it, right? Just that would fit their narrative and marketing schemes perfectly. So I think they would love that. You know,
the NFL would love nothing more than Baker Mayfield to play extremely well for the Panthers. They Absolutely. Would love that. So then we could just clown the Browns. All right. Well, I was going to give this one second, but since we were talking about the Saints, I have the Saints finishing with a top 5 pick in the NFL draft.
Oh. Top 5 pick.
So we talked. I mean, a lot of this is stuff that I guess Etienne was kind of new, but a lot of this is stuff that we've talked about that we're just putting in a hot take. But like The Saints lost Drew Brees 2 years ago. Last
Yeah.
year, their first year without Drew Brees, they went 9-8, just missed the playoffs. And then Sean Payton retired in the offseason, replaced by now I'm actually blanking. It's either Dennis, yeah, okay, replaced by their previous defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, who has previously coached the Raiders. And then their offensive coordinator is Pete Carmichael, who had been there and was quote unquote just as important to the offensive scheme as Sean Payton. I personally don't buy that. I think that this team has blow up written all over them.
Yeah.
They made like some really short-sighted, in my opinion, dumb moves in the offseason. Like they went all in. Like they traded. They don't have their first round pick this year. They traded it. They traded up for the draft. Everybody thought that was for a quarterback. They traded up for like a wide receiver. Like they gave up a future first round pick for a wide receiver. And like Chris Olave is good, which is who they took with that pick. But like, you know, he's not, it's unlikely that he's Justin Jefferson, that he's Jamar Chase, that he's a franchise changing talent. Sure. So that didn't make any sense to me. And then they just traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who was a starting safety for them, played like 90% of the snaps for like literally pennies, like for like the equivalent of a 6th round pick or something like that. So they don't really seem like they know what they're doing. They already lost one of their first round picks, Trevor Penning, to a serious injury. He's out for a couple months. I think people are overrating how quote good Jameis was last year. Like he never threw for more than 200 yards. And their defense has been top 5 for like a couple years in a row. And I just think that they are bound to take a step back. So I think Saints have blow up potential. Long story short.
Yeah, I'm gonna, based off what you said, and it's weird because that this train of thought really hasn't come to mind. Because if anything, strangely, maybe it's like my own bias of my friends or people who I talk to about sports, but like most of the people I talk to are pretty high on Jameis and high on the Saints. So the fact that you're kind of bucking the trend of at least what I've been hearing, I'm going to go with spicy. And I think maybe there are people like us, they don't find this as a hot take, and that's fine. But I think people who I've been talking to, and even on social media chatter, there's lots of people who are like, I'm taking Jameis for like MVP. I'm taking Jameis for, and I'm just like, really? And so because I've just been hearing enough super high praise for Jameis and how he's going to just kill it this year, and the Saints are actually going to surprise everyone, I'm going to say it's a spicy hot take. I'm going to say it's spicy. And I actually agree with you. I think that you're going to have this weird scenario where week 1, this coming weekend, they're probably going to beat the Falcons, in my opinion. And then you're going to hear that narrative explode even more and say, oh, see, told you Jameis is going to be a world beater this year, right? And then I think it's going to get rough because then you're going to play like the Bucks, and then they got the Panthers, but then soon after you're playing like the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Ravens. It's a rough patch where I think somewhere in that part of the season, I think it's going to fall apart, honestly. And I think you're going to, when you're under duress and it's not going on easy street, I think that's where we're going to see probably some, cracks in Jameis Winston and how the offense goes. So we'll see, but I am going to roll with you. I'd say that's a pretty spicy hot take, because everyone else I'm talking to lately, for whatever reason, maybe I just know a bunch of Saints fans, but they are all pretty high praise on the Saints. Yeah. I don't know about people you're talking to, but
no, well, not necessarily people that I'm talking to, but I was listening to my favorite fantasy football podcast, the Fantasy Footballers, and they give their season predictions. And one guy had them in the Super Bowl, and I was expecting like people like fireworks to go off and everybody to really hammer him on that. And then they're kind of like, yeah, okay, like next. And I was like, what? Like that is a spicy take. To be fair, like having the Bengals in the Super Bowl last year, that would have been an atomic level hot take. You know what I mean? So like, I get it. Like crazy things happen, but I just don't see it with the Saints. I just don't see it at all.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. It's spicy and I like it. So, all right. My next one is the Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs this year. The Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs. Okay. And look, we know at key, this is the phrase right here, key positions, they are very talented. Okay. But I do think, as much as I like some of their pieces, like Dalton Schultz, like blah blah blah, like there's still some question marks. It's like you don't have Amari Cooper. Gallup is recovering. We've talked about that in previous episodes. So, who's going to step up? And is that thin, top heavy talent? Is that going to be enough? When is Gallup going to return? One injury away. Offensive line has question marks. They let Collins go. We know at running back, I think fans already are like, I want Pollard, not Zeke. Zeke's had struggles in the past. So you have some offensive line question marks. Zeke's already been struggling in the last couple of years. So what's going to happen there? And look, I'm going to be straight. Like if I look at their schedule and if they stay healthy and if things go right, easily, I'm not stupid, I can see like 10, 11 wins. Okay. But that's predicated on their key defenders. And I like Micah Parsons. I like et cetera. There's key guys who are great, but like you take away any one of those key people on both sides of the ball, I actually think there's a depth problem on the Cowboys. And let's say, look, in my opinion, I am Eagles high. I know that. So I already have them securing the division, right? So let's say they secure the division, and let's say, I don't know, Dayball goes crazy or something, and the Giants and Daniel Jones somehow steal one. Let's say, I don't think it'll happen, but let's say Commander Wentz, they somehow steal one, right?
Commander Carson, baby.
Yeah. You've then gone from 11 to 9 wins, okay? And that's, again, predicated on health. So you have some depth problems, and you're banking on steamrolling through your division, maybe minus the Eagles, who you're going to split with or maybe lose both. So I have the Eagles winning it. And if everything doesn't go right, I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance in my mind they might miss it. And I think the Cowboys have had struggles stringing like back-to-back playoff years, and they haven't really shown they can just be in it year after year, right? So I don't know, man. I don't think it's insane, but I think the Dallas Cowboys, because of depth issues, have a chance, a genuine chance. And I'm going to say they're going to miss the playoffs this year. They're going to miss the playoffs.
I like it. I mean, my sweat or no sweat last week was Cowboys don't finish top 2 in the NFC East. So I am on board with you. In terms of spiciness level, I would say that's a mildly hot take. I feel like as we get closer to the season, a lot of people are starting to sour on the Cowboys. Like I looked up their odds. They're plus 180 to miss the playoffs. So
interesting.
Definitely plus money. Not quite Travis Etienne plus 3,000 level hot take. But no, I like it. I mean, I agree with literally everything you said. They're incredibly top heavy. One injury to Micah Parsons, one injury to Trayvon Diggs. They're toast. They're going to have missed 3 offensive line starters from last year. And Collins, who you mentioned, Connor Williams, who I think was signed by the Dolphins. And then we've talked about Tyron Smith, how Dak is just like a different player in terms of wins, losses without Tyron Smith. They're replacing him with Eagles legend Jason Peters, which is tough to see as an Eagles legend playing for the Cowboys, but sure. Cash those checks. I get it. He played for your Bears last year, did not have a good year for your Bears last year.
No, did not.
Like, I get why they did it. I don't think he's going to solve any issues. Michael Gallup is out for at least week 1. I forget if they've announced anything more than that. So yeah, it's definitely a hot take. I'll definitely give it mild on the scale. But when you think about it, like, who's the best quarterback in the division? Dak Prescott. Yeah, who's the best defender in the division? Micah Parsons. It's like, that's why they're favored. That's why they're minus 225 to make the playoffs. Like, sometimes it is just that simple, but there's a lot of things that have already gone wrong for the Cowboys, and the season hasn't even started yet. Like, it's tough going into the year with all this bad juju. So I'm with it. I like it. Plus 180. I'll probably sprinkle a half unit on that.
All right, cool. So what do you got for me? What's your next one? Because you flipped the order, you said. So what's the next one?
You'll understand why I originally had the Saints 1 second, but my next hot take is the 49ers finish with the 1 seed in the NFC. This is basically a bet on Trey Lance as a top 10 quarterback this year. I feel like that's really all it takes. Jimmy Garoppolo was solid enough to keep them winning, but he's what held them back, in my opinion, especially last year. Like, they had a really good team, 7th ranked defense in terms of DVOA. we've talked about this, so I don't need to hammer home the point, but just like ravaged by injuries in the secondary last year. If they could just have some injury luck, that to me, they have the potential to be a top 3 defense.
Yeah.
Offensively, it's really just going to come down to Trey Lance. Like, they have a good offensive line, they have good skill positions, they have literally everything. And I've talked about, like, Trey Lance is historically raw as a prospect. He threw, I think, like 71 or something passes.
Yeah.
Last year, he didn't play the year prior. So he really hasn't played significant football since pre-COVID, just to put that timeline in perspective, since the 2019 season. And he played for North Dakota State. So it wasn't like he had the SEC level competition that he was facing off against.
Sure.
But the tools are there. I trust Mike Shanahan. I feel like he's just been dying to have some sort of weapon at quarterback that wasn't just this limited Jimmy Garoppolo. So if he pops, then I could see the 49ers being not easily. That's a little aggressive, but I could see the 49ers being the 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm gonna say medium spice, because I think from my from what I'm hearing and seeing a lot out there on sports podcasts, social media, cappers, like, I think it's split down the middle. I think you're gonna find a bunch of people who are like, I don't get the hype, and they're shaking and scratching their heads saying, I don't get this whole Trey Lance love, like as if we're crowning him as he's the next Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or something. And he's so raw, he's so unproven. There's so much hype, and everyone's making assumptions that he's going to carry them to the promised land. And I think that's a valid, fair argument. I think we just don't know. There's a lot of hype out there and a lot of potential. And then you got other folks who are like, yeah, they're pegging them to be one of the Super Bowl favorites, right? So I think because it's so split down the middle, I think it goes above mild. I'm going to say it's a medium take, because there's still a lot of love for the other teams out there, like the Rams or whoever. So I'm gonna say medium. And for all those reasons you said, I think it's feasible, right? So I think it would be a huge commentary that Trey Lance is the real deal, or at least has the real deal potential, right? Because you can't do that by luck, right? So if he can help guide them there under his leadership, that speaks a lot to Trey Lance. And I'm hoping he can step up and at least get close to that, because that would be cool to have another QB to make the NFL exciting. I would love to see that happen. And everything else, we've talked about them. The defense is there. I agree with you. I think they might be a top three defense. I think I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be top 5 minimum, top 3 even. They got tools that I love with Debo and all the other guys. That everything is in place. You're right. The coach is there. The defense is there. The offensive weapons are there. Running game is there. Trey Lance, are you the real guy? I think that's what it's going to come down to. So, and I think it's divided. Opinions are divided. So let's see how it plays out, basically.
Yeah, understandably divided too, because like what he showed in the preseason is like he showed enough promise for the people on the pro side of him to be like, see how talented he is and what he did, but he was inconsistent enough for the people that were the pessimistic side, saying like, see, like he's still raw, he's going to make mistakes, stuff like that. So I mean, they're plus 900 to be the 1 seed in the NFC. So I think a medium level spice is probably about right. Their odds are 5th behind the Bucks, Packers, Rams, and Cowboys, which I think is proper. The next team behind them is the Eagles, who, funny enough, I would say are probably similar. I don't think Hurts necessarily has the potential that Trey Lance does, but it's basically like, hey, the roster around the quarterback is awesome. If the quarterback pops, then this team could be really good. Yeah. So I think the 49ers have a significantly higher ceiling. Also on defense, I think they do. But either way, plus 900, for those of you who want to sprinkle like a quarter unit on the 49ers to be the 1 seed, I don't think is terrible.
Yep. Cool. Sounds good. So my last one, my third hot take, I already know it's not going to be atomic level and it's not a super spicy hot take, but I'm going to say it with definitiveness. And I'm going to say, just crown Justin Herbert as the MVP right now. Don't even bother. Just crown him. Crown him the MVP.
Crown his ass
right now. Crown his ass. Plus 1,000. I'm going to say is, it's a steal. Just take it. Crown Justin Herbert as the MVP, because the NFL wants to give it to him. Tom Brady's sailing out into the sunset with Giselle problems, so he's done. So they need to crown a new future Tom Brady, and that's going to be Justin Herbert. And they're just waiting. They're just like, defense, please catch up and be halfway decent and help them get it to the playoffs so we could just hand this to him this year. And that's what the NFL wants. And now being serious, obviously he's already shown, like, what is it, 41 touchdowns, like 5,000 passing yards.
Yeah, incredible.
So if his defense could just be competent last year, he probably had a case to at least like maybe get it. And so just be competent and average and help the man get to the playoffs. And the NFL is going to hand this guy the MVP. He's going to be the MVP if they could be competent on defense.
I mean, that sounds like medium level spice to me. I looked it up. MVP odds are plus 900, the exact same odds as the 49ers to get the 1 seed. So sprinkle another quarter unit on that play. You get yourself some nice plus money. He's the 4th best odds behind Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady are tied for 2nd. And then Justin Herbert is 4th at plus 900, as I mentioned. I mean, I love it. I don't have a single bad thing to say about Justin Herbert. What he did his rookie year, like, he wasn't supposed to be the starter. He found out he was starting like 10 minutes before the game because the freaking Chargers training staff like punctured the lung of Tyrod Taylor, like just this ridiculous thing. And he comes in and is just absolutely incredible. Shows nothing but just an incredible quarterback from that moment on. So I love it. I forget if he was my pick officially for the MVP or not. But I mean, I agree with everything you said. If their defense can just be average, and honestly, if it's one of those things like where the Chiefs always have a bad defense, but Mahomes just continues to give them wins, like if Herbert can do that and they win 12 games with a bad defense, then yeah, absolutely, that's pretty much in the bag at that point.
Yeah. No, I'm foreseeing it. It's going to happen. I'm going to manifest this to happen. So what's your last one for me, man?
All right, my last one, and you'll understand why. Originally, I had the Saints at 2nd, but Colts get the 1 seed in the AFC. Why not? Why not predict both 1 seeds in the AFC and the NFC? My main play in logic for this one is just a strength of schedule play. They have the 3rd easiest strength of schedule in the NFL, according to Sharp Football Analysis. The only 2 teams ahead of them are NFC East teams, Giants and the Eagles, because the NFC East is just a joke. So even though they're in the gauntlet of the AFC, because they don't have a first place schedule, because they didn't win their division last year, because their division is a joke. We talked about not being high on the Titans. I mean, I guess you're a little bit high on the Jags, so maybe they split, but the Texans are going to be terrible. So that's presumably 4 to 5 to 6 possibly division wins. And then other than that, like, you just have to hope that Ryan still has something left in the tank. I really like their defense. I'll admit that I'm worried that they lost Eberflus to your squad. He is now the head coach of the Bears. But I think, like, I love Frank Reich as a head coach. This is now his 5th season with the 5th different quarterback. But I think that Matt Ryan, I think he still does have something left in the tank. He's got a good offensive line. He's got good enough weapons. And I think, like, you know, the Bills have a hard schedule. The Chiefs have a hard schedule. Like, the NFC West is just they're going to kill each other. Nobody, I mean, I like the Ravens. But nobody really in the NFC North are you that scared of, like, being a powerhouse. So maybe both them and the Bills have a mediocre schedule. So, like, they're obviously the huge like risk or the favorite to get the 1 seed, but maybe they both finish with 12 wins. The Colts have the tiebreak or something like that is kind of where I'm at.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you threw me off there. So the whole AFC. So man. I will say, and I guess it's kind of cool that we're ending up on this one. I'll go with Atomic on this one. I'd say that's very spicy. I don't think I've really heard that take. I think there's been plenty of chatter of, you know, the division, they're going to lock it up. They're the obvious choice, blah, blah. And then if anything, people are now, there's this weird like pushback in the media right now. And on like gambling shows where people are like, whoa, slow your roll on the Colts. Like, Matt Ryan's not some savior, blah, blah, blah. There's been too much hype about it being a lock. They're even questioning now, will they even lock up the division? So given some of that slide back and some regression in opinions, like I don't think I've really heard much about them trying to be number one. So I'll say for in terms of hotness, I'll say Atomic. I'll give it
I
an
like it.
Atomic because I think you are the first person that I've heard that from. Just saying overall, just like number one, and you gave me compelling reasons. I'm just gonna say, from a reality check standpoint, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I'd say, yeah. I mean, no, but you're right. I mean, Bills don't have an easy schedule, even though like I'm pegging them to be kind of towards the top. They don't have an easy schedule at all. I think if anything, it's as strange as it sounds. Yeah, it's like Bills, Ravens, like Ravens. I wonder if the Ravens have this sneaky chance. And it's not like sneaky dark horse, but I'm just saying like if things go right and they get reverse luck from last year, yeah, I mean that would be tough to top. So yeah, obviously I feel like they would be chasing the Bills Ravens because, like you said, the AFC West is going to cannibalize themselves, so that their records are going to be a bit rougher and
Yeah,
not
they
as
could
pristine.
between like 9 and 11. All four of them could end, but could have
Yeah,
between nine. Yeah,
but because of that, you're right. Like there is this outside chance if somehow Matt Ryan is the savior and they play clean football all season and just win the games they're supposed to win.
that's the path. You win.
It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you win the games you're favored in, which is probably going to be 11-13. You lose the games you're not favored in.
yeah,
But like that was kind of the path the Titans, not necessarily playing clean football and like winning the games you should,
yeah.
but that's how
How it worked out, right?
exactly.
Exactly.
All the other teams
Exactly.
just kind of like you said, cannibalized themselves, and the Titans just like ended up with the 1 seed somehow.
Yeah, so that's funny because and in reality, guys, for those of you listening, I'm not just saying this to like agree with like a co-host. It's like you listen to our past episodes. I was making the case for like Bills Ravens, saying AFC West is going to eat themselves apart. That it's almost clearing the path for other divisional winners to be the 1 seed. So it's like, but I never put the Colts in that conversation.
Yeah, which is
So,
fair.
but because like it just never crossed my mind, right? Because I think just like the public's eye is on the obvious guys, right? The Lamar Jacksons and the Josh Allens and the powerhouses that it never really crossed my mind. But you're right. There is this kind of weird backdoor sneaky route where it could happen. It could happen. So I don't think it's impossible. So that's why I'm giving it Atomic. I think there is a thread of reality in there, along with the fact that it's not a popular take. So I'm gonna say that's a pretty Atomic, sneaky Atomic hot take. I like it, man. That's a creative one. I like it.
Thank
I
you,
like it.
thank you. I thought about now also you understand why I had the Saints in the middle. So I had like 1 seed Saints, 1 seed. Yeah, I did think about putting the Ravens as my selection, but we've talked so much about the Ravens this offseason. I like wanted to say something
Yeah.
different. And just in terms of the odds, they have the sixth best odds to be the 1 seed at plus 1100. The teams ahead of them are all teams that we talked about: Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Broncos, Chargers, Bengals. So the Bengals are, I guess, are one team that we didn't mention, but like 3 NFC West teams and then kind of the rest of the pack. So yeah, I think like for plus 1100, again, maybe like a quarter, tenth of a unit or something on that bad boy.
Yep. No, I like it. So before we wrap up, guys, with our hot takes, what did you have any runners up that just like barely missed the cut that you were considering? I'm just curious. Like one of mine was like, I'm just right. The Bears are gonna flirt with going winless. And I know I'm being such a douche because I'm just so down on my hometown Bears, but look, I think they're gonna get a solid 4 wins. Okay, but I mean, if it's a total cluster F, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be competing with the Falcons for the bottom of the NFL. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that's what I think, man.
yeah, I agree. I mean, like this, the second worst offensive line, the worst skill positions. Like they're literally writing a book on what not to do with a young quarterback.
Yes, exactly.
No, the one that I had was I ended up taking. I don't think it was spicy enough. Was Vikings win the NFC North? I know we talked about that a little bit in our NFC divisional preview, but I was like, that's kind of boring, and I didn't really feel it. I felt like I was kind of just like shooing in a hot take. The other ones are like obviously probably spicier than that one, but ones that I actually had conviction behind. So that's why I ended up not going with that. Actually, one thing we have not a hot take related, changing the subject. Do you do fantasy football at all?
Not too much, not too much. I'm so focused on trying to sustain my bankroll and stay viable with betting that just
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, just curious. I'm only normally last year I think I was in 4 leagues, which is significantly too much. Like I was in
oh, that's a
so there
lot
were
of leagues, yeah.
it was yeah, it was too much. So then this year I'm only in 1 league and it's a keeper league, so it's like a little bit different than just like your standard redraft.
Sure.
But no, I didn't. I was just curious. I didn't have anything specific. I was just curious.
All right. So before we get to our best bets, you wanted to do survivor pool, you said, right? So survivor pool picks for NFL week one.
Yeah, I think it could be fun unless we both lose week one, and then it's
Yeah,
not
I
something we
guess
do
right.
moving
Yeah.
forward. But I think it could be fun to do weekly. Just we don't have to give a ton of analysis. Just like who our survivor pick is. If there's like, do you have any runner ups or anything like that? If not, no worries. And then even if we end up losing, if people do want to like just get our analysis on who we think would be a good survivor pick, could just be a quick 2-minute segment.
So let's just do it, and I'll go real quick with that because I've already given my analysis multiple times on past episodes. I've debated between either the 49ers or the Ravens, and I'm just gonna go 49ers, and here's why: because they are superior in every facet, minus maybe a question mark on the quarterback because we don't know. We talked about Trey Lance being the X factor. Defense better, skill positions better, offense better. They're just better, guys. There's like a huge talent gap. And for me, it's a can't lose because I'm either going to win and survive, or if I suck and I lose on week one, then I'm surprised in a shockingly happy fashion that my Bears have potential for the season. So
There you go.
for me,
There you go.
I'm going to take a can't lose survivor pick 49ers.
I like it. I had 3 that I was debating. Both the teams you mentioned,
Oh,
Ravens and 49ers. I also was debating on the Colts. I settled with the Ravens for all the reasons that we've talked about. Joe Flacco is starting at quarterback. Okay, I will be betting on the other team. The Colts made me nervous because like they have a weird bad history in week one under Frank Reich. Like 2 years ago, they lost to the Jaguars in week one, and that was literally the only game the Jaguars won all year. They went 1-15,
oh yeah, you're right. You're
and they
right.
beat the
Yeah,
Colts in
yeah,
week
yeah, yeah.
one.
That's right. I remember
Last
that.
year, they lost to the Seahawks in week one, and like obviously Russ played in that game, but in a down year
Sure.
for the Seahawks. So I think they'll still win. Like, of course, they're the biggest favorite, but I ended up deciding on the Ravens for everything we've talked about on the show. And if you want the Spark Notes version, is Joe Flacco starting for the Jets.
So so you're not scared to be eliminated by the powerhouse duo of Flacco and Braxton Berrios, is what you're saying to me here.
That sounds like a law firm.
Everyone on social media is super high on Braxton Berrios to score like 2 touchdowns. I mean,
Really? I mean,
it's like a degenerate bet, I think, but
if you had mentioned Elijah Moore, I like him. He's good. He's
oh
very
yeah, no,
good.
I like Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore, I could get on board with, but no, I can't say I'm that scared of Joe Flacco.
All right. So those are our picks. We'll see if we can survive even 1 week of
Just
crazy
1 week.
NFL. Just 1 week, guys. Give us 1 week.
It'd be
So
pretty embarrassing if we lost it after all this.
all right. So let's move on to some of our best bets rolling into this weekend. Doesn't have to be NFL because we've already given out several NFL bets, but so let's kick off some best bets. I'm gonna mention there's a promo, and I just want to make sure everyone knows this promo's out there. I'm gonna have to sit there and debate on this, but I want to point out that on DraftKings, so we talked about this, guys, in one of our educational videos. Like, take advantage of promotions, okay? Like, don't be that guy who thinks they're smart by saying promos are for suckers. They're always going to lose. There's a trap. Sports books are trying to trap you. No, okay. If you were going to bet on this game anyway, on Bills Rams, why wouldn't you bet this promo? If you're already going to have action, take advantage of the promo. They have a promo to attract bettors to kick off the NFL season because they want as much action as possible. And it's the 7-point lead bet. So if you pick a money line bet on either the Bills or the Rams, and whoever you picked ends up getting a 7-point lead at any point in the game, you will just win your money line bet regardless of the outcome. So let's, for example, if you pick the Rams for plus money as their money line, and whatever, in the first quarter, they're the first to score a touchdown and they're up 7, but they lose the game, you will win the bet because they were up 7 at one point. So I want to point out that's a pretty cool promo, guys. So if you're already going to bet it anyway, there is no harm in then taking that promo bet to have an extra chance of almost like insurance to maybe win if your team doesn't win, but at least got a lead of 7 points or more in the game. So I wanted to at least mention to you guys, take a look at that promo. It seems like people have variable max bet allowances on that, but see, just take a look and debate if you're already betting on the game on a money line, you might as well opt in before you make your money line bet. So I wanted to at least point that out.
Yeah, they did that for the NBA finals, if you remember that, in game one.
Exactly.
And it both ended up hitting. They paid out all sides of it.
They pay out all sides. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It's like they want to engage users. And if you're already betting, like, why wouldn't you take advantage? Is all I'm saying. So that's an example of like, don't listen to that. We're not saying sports books are good guys. We're just saying there's an edge there where you get some like cushion and maybe can even salvage a bet that loses in the long run. I mean, so just take advantage of it.
Yeah. My analysis there would be take the team with plus money, take the home team.
Yes.
Take the Rams. Like they get the ball first, they score a touchdown on their opening drive. You are sitting pretty for the rest of the night.
And see, that's the funny part, because when we gave our week one previews, I said I'm leaning Bills, but this is a scenario where
this is different. Yeah,
this is different. So I want to be clear for those who maybe saw that episode. For this promo, I would roll Rams for the exact same reason, because you can get a chance at plus money and you can snag it even if they lose. So I think it's smarter to go with the plus money side if you're going to use this promo.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. All right. Well, I'll start with a non-NFL one. So I have, let's see, 2 bets for the biggest college football game, I would guess, on Saturday, the Bama at Texas.
Okay.
My favorite one, Texas team total under 22.5. Basically, I think they score under 3 touchdowns. I like it. They're the home team. They're probably getting a little bit of love because they scored 50 points in their first game, but they played UL Monroe. Bama is a little bit of a different animal.
Slightly.
Bama probably has the top 2 pass rushing duo in college football. The Texas O-line struggled against UL Monroe. They gave up 3 sacks. I worry that Bama's just going to feast on Texas, so I have them scoring under 22.5. And then I took Bama the spread minus 19 for all the reasons I said.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm taking notes because I might take some of that. So, all right. So I have my first one is a UFC bet coming up for this weekend on Saturday. This is the fight with Tony Ferguson versus Li Jianliang. I'm pronouncing it wrong. So look, we have made some money. If you followed me on Twitter, specifically at ParlayDoc, like fading Tony Ferguson in his recent fights. Okay. And faded him in his last fight versus Chandler, where he got his head kicked off. Essentially, he's coming back earlier than we would have expected. And basically, guys, I'm sorry. I respect Tony Ferguson. I was a big fan of Tony Ferguson in his prime. He was awesome, but he's in the twilight of his UFC MMA career, guys. Okay. And not that like he's fighting like a springy, youthful fighter in his early 20s. No, Li Jianliang is in his like early 30s as well. So, but he's like a few years his junior. He's a guy who has about 10 knockouts or KOs, and we've seen what's happened with Tony's chin. Like he can be competitive for a few minutes. He can pester you, he can hit you from range, but once he gets clipped with a solid strike, it's lights out, guys. Okay. So right now it's a little strange. You have to be careful here. If you go on like FanDuel, if you go on Caesars and a couple other popular books, it's plus 110 for Li Jianliang to win by KO, TKO, DQ. And that's kind of the classic combo that they offer. But if you go on FanDuel, they took off the DQ portion for whatever reason. And sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't. So they just have KO, TKO. It's not super often you see a DQ, guys. Okay. So it's just KO, TKO without the DQ or disqualification portion. But because of that, instead of plus 110, you get it plus 160. And to me, I don't really care about the DQ. I want just the KO, TKO part. That I'll take the extra value at plus 160 on FanDuel. So I'm going to roll with a full unit, and I rarely do full units on a prop on method of victory because that's rough. It's tough to do that. But I think because of Li's style of fighting, Tony's willingness to engage, what we've seen happen when he engages and when he gets clipped, I think a knockout TKO is very possible, and plus 160, I think that's pretty reasonable value that I'm going to roll with that for this Saturday.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, what would even qualify as a DQ?
It's like, he was on the ground and the dude needs you in the face while you were on the ground. Like that's illegal. You can't
Like
like
a
knee them in,
crotch shot,
you
or like,
can't knee them in the head while they're on the ground. Like you have to wait for them to stand up, or they elbowed you in the back of the neck, like on the spine. And the ref said, please don't do that. And he just kept doing that. And the opponent gets DQ'd. So it's rare that stuff like that happens. But I mean, it has happened, but I'm willing to roll the dice to get the extra odds on what I actually want to happen is the KO TKO.
yeah, that makes sense. Cool. All right. Well, I figured I could tell you for mine, my money line parlay that I did lock in. It was Saints, 49ers, Ravens, just straight up. I think if I mentioned this on another pod, then I apologize. Plus 164, Saints, Ravens, 49ers.
That's money right there. That's
pretty simple.
Right there.
And then I also have 3 money line underdogs that I like just straight up to win. Vikings against the Packers, probably the hottest one. Jaguars against the Commanders, probably the coldest one. And then Rams tomorrow night against the Bills. Those are my 3 favorite underdog teams.
Gotcha. Nice. I think I think I have that exact same one. I think I was on Ravens, 49ers, Saints for obvious reasons as just kind of a straightforward juice parlay, but I'm going to take it. I like it. So I got one more UFC one, guys. This is in the distant future, so it's not happening soon. So you have time to look at it. So this is going to be, I think it's in November, guys. Okay. It's Israel Adesanya versus Pereira. Okay. You will never ever see Izzy or Israel Adesanya at minus 165 ever, guys. Okay, so he's minus 165 on DraftKings. It might have been even better odds when it first opened up, but he's still to this day right now minus 165 on DraftKings when I looked at Odds Jam earlier this evening. Why would I take that at minus 165? And again, people always assume just because something is negative odds that's worthless. No, it's about value and implied odds and how you cap a fight. The reason is usually you're going to find Izzy at minus 500, minus 800, minus 600. Like that's his typical odds in the last couple of years in his championship fights. Okay. Cause he gets a lot of flack for being too cautious. He will want to outpoint you. He's kind of like Floyd Mayweather at the tail end of his career. He does enough to win each round, but he doesn't finish people and knock them out. And he doesn't get the sexy KO that the crowd wants, but he's just going to maintain his belt and he's going to stay champ. And that's what he does. He wants to maintain his legacy. Why is he minus 165 now versus, minus 800, minus 700? Because the guy Pereira he's fighting knocked him out years ago before Izzy was in the UFC. They were in some other kickboxing federation, and this video clip has gone viral. And they show you him getting the lights knocked out. I mean, he gets roundhouse kicked really hard to that. I mean, Izzy is knocked out. So that video is making its rounds and has resurfaced. And everyone's like, oh my God, this dude is going to be the Izzy stopper. And this is why it's minus 165. But that was years ago. Now he has been champ. He has been at the top premier level of UFC. Pereira is chasing him. Okay. Pereira's older. So you also have to factor in when that happened. Izzy was kind of greener and he's younger than Pereira. That now he's the speed advantage. I think in my opinion, the experience advantage of top level opponents. He is the guy to take down. He's a different person than he was years ago. You will never, ever get Adesanya at minus 165 ever again. So again, you have to take out this concept that minus odds is worthless. It's how you cap it, how you see kind of what you think are the implied odds versus what you're getting. I see this Adesanya winning this like 9 out of 10 times easy, guys. Okay. And a fluke knockout may be happening, but to me, I will take that literally a straight money line and I will just take that. Okay. And I'll put to win a full unit. So I'll put 165 to win 100. I might even put more than that, honestly. My brother in Vegas dropped like $3,000 on that because he said the same thing. This is value. He's like, I'm never going to get Izzy at these odds. So whether you do that now or obviously as it gets closer, there's probably going to be some odds boost or some boost or whatever. Sure, then apply it and try to get it closer to even odds. But I think this is going to just keep creeping up. And by the time you get to November, this is going to be minus 190, minus 185, 200, because public money is just going to go on name recognition and it's just going to keep pouring on Izzy. That if you were going to just take him there, I think there's literally some value here, even at this line right now. So I'm just telling you, sooner rather than later, you want to take Izzy at this line.
I like it. I don't know a single thing about UFC, but that all sounded smart to me. So I like it.
There's just value there. That's all I'm saying, guys.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
All right. Any other bets, Matt? Anything else you got for today?
No, that's it. I just, yeah, I mean, football starting tomorrow. Very exciting stuff. So make sure to just subscribe to the channel. Make sure to get all of our episodes, our content moving forward, and all that stuff. But no, I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Like we said, thank you for joining for today's episode. But like Matt said, stay tuned, put your notifications on, because you are going to be seeing a series of live streams, especially Sunday mornings and some other important primetime games. We will come and live stream some of our favorite bets or parlays, SGPs, props. So stay tuned. NFL is going to be fun, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.